Hey, what is up, everybody? We are live. We are back. We spent about 6 hours yesterday going through some ranks and basically just doing a really, really rough tier list for the 2026 season. It is basically just a starting point for discussion to see what I messed up, like where I might have missed, what the community thinks is smart, not smart. There are some major things that I did, like to avoid things. Like I did a little bit of research also on the Camp Scadaboo injury recovery timeline and some of that stuff as well. So I am going to let some people jump in here for a little bit. X is too high. The X is actually was I had a second column on the other side as I was doing the ranks, which I've deleted. The X was people who I rated. Like, so the X, Charbonnet, didn't rank him for next year because he probably doesn't play. And then this is sorted by fantasy points. This is fantasy points per game. Um, and then there's just some other names here, like Audric Estime, who is one of the worst running backs I've ever watched play. Jawar Jordan, I could see him possibly being drafted late. He is somebody who I expect to discuss at some point this offseason for sure. Michael Carter, Miles Sanders, who also needs to go to bold and red. Wrong one. 1 minute. There we go. Free agent who was hurt the entire season and stuff like that. So that's what we're actually going to start with quarterbacks. But also, a caveat to this video is that I don't have any of the rookies ranked. I've started the process over here by putting out, like, this is PFF's rankings at the moment, and I've copied down a bunch of stats, things that I think matter for the position. Uh, all I've done is copied it. I can do that right now, but I'll color code this at some point as well. Um, and this is the 2025 up here, and then 2024 seasons underneath it. I will be using that. I don't have the info like elusive rating, yards after contact for the second season, missed tackles forced, and yards per route run. I have this for wide receivers and for running backs. I've went down to 22 running backs. They start to look really, really bad somewhere around like between 9 and 15. So we will get to those players. Obviously, I'm probably going to have Jeremiah Love at 1 like everybody else. But we will not have him ranked. We won't have Mendoza ranked today. And as I said earlier, it is mostly just a discussion point for what we might want for the future. For hopefully the drafts start this weekend, and what I will do is I'm going to make another column here, and every draft I do, like all of these, and if people want to send me their boards, they can. We're going to use my ranks, and these are just tiers. I don't have full ranks. I might make full ranks like Friday, merging all the positions, but we're going to basically what I did last year is the first weekend I only drafted off of tiers, and then I slotted every draft that I had access to. I put the ADPs there, and then I did ranks based off of my thoughts plus ADP. So, like, if I have Jaden Daniels here, but 3 other quarterbacks go before him, I'm going to move Jaden Daniels down below those, like closer to those guys, but still ahead, kind of thing, right? To make sure I don't lose ADP value. Uh, or if like I'm way under on somebody, moving them closer and then looking into it more to see if I think I'm wrong or not. So it's all a process for me to figure out where people should be. But we are going to get started, uh, and it is 5 minutes 40 seconds. So this is the quarterback discussion. Um, I last year I fought Josh Allen at 1. I was purely into Lamar at 1. I'm not saying that that was wrong. Uh, it ended up being wrong, but injury happened, and Baltimore, like there were some weird things going on at the end of the season. It like Josh Allen was the clear 101, but Josh Allen has a bigger frame. He's less likely to get hurt. I think the with both of the coaches leaving, I think that's going to be beneficial to both of the quarterbacks. Uh, if Josh Allen, like I'm kind of wondering if Joe Brady ends up being the head coach. I do think that Josh Allen is, and like the Ravens fan already in here. Uh, I mean, yeah, he will like he was hurt all year, right? Like it's just he plays through everything, and Josh Allen playing hurt is a better player than Lamar playing hurt. Lamar relies more on like Lamar's the better athlete for sure, right? But he doesn't play hurt as well as Josh Allen does. So with that, that is something that like I think they're basically the same. As you see, I have boxes here. These are my tiers. So in tier 1, I have Josh Allen, Lamar. I think it's pretty clear cut there. Last year I had Jaden Daniels up there. Jaden Daniels has moved down a bit. Um, and I think that I think people could argue that it's just Josh Allen and Lamar goes into the next group. Uh, and by the way, if anybody's listening afterwards, feel absolutely free to comment in the comments. And I will, because I'm going to be working on actual ranks throughout the week. So I would love to hear other people's input as well. And by the way, Peppertoni, Scott, Crossface, thank you all for popping in. At the second tier of quarterbacks, I have Jalen Hurts, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels, I think Cliff being gone would be positive. We didn't really get to see him play last year very much. When he did play, hold on a second. Okay. When he did play, he actually wasn't insanely good either. He only averaged 17.04, which was 19th or 18th best. Yeah, 18th best at quarterback last year in points per game. But some of those games, like one of those games was a partial game, and then he came back and played another partial game. So I haven't looked and delved into that, like what the full games he had was. The offense was also not 100%. Like Terry wasn't there a lot. Uh, I mean, Debo will be gone this year as well. So there's that. But I still believe that if he stays healthy, he's going to be a top 3 scorer. I'm just pretty worried about that. And then Drake May, who I have at 4, he was number 2 this year or 3 this year at points per game at 21.22. He didn't miss any games. He's still super young. When he runs, he's smart. He understands how to smartly slide and all that. And then Jalen Hurts was way down here. Like he was down here almost 20 points a game. He didn't really have any spikes this year. I also don't know about Jalen Hurts. Like I put him there more as a do I like I don't want to put Drake May there. Like in my own heart, I do have Drake May there at 3. I don't want to show up on the opening weekend and be taking Drake May 20 picks ahead of where people are taking him. I would rather let the market tell me if where I like him is too high. And if it's fine, like if it's where I would take him, I'll just take some later. And if it's if it's if I am willing to take him too high, I'll just end up with more of him like I did last year. So this is kind of a grouping of that as well. Like a lot of my ranks will be this is where I will take the player at first. I know Jalen Hurts is going to be drafted fairly high. Um, but I do agree that Drake May should probably be at the head of this tier. And that's why I made this the poll. I think this is the most like I think that one is kind of obvious. Like I don't know if the whole market will be there though. I do think that at least the first couple days people will be trying to get value on Drake May, and that's what I would like to do. Um, so any other discussion on that? And double digit mid teen TD seems off the table now. Well, like let's go to Jalen Hurts real quick. He had not 8 touchdowns, right? Um, which is less than Trevor Lawrence had, by the way. So, so yeah, I kind of agree. What is the the 6 to 9 tiering system? Absolutely. Almost like I did it on purpose. I actually didn't but like how let's see, did I do the same at Rook? No, I may you know what? I actually thought about putting James Cook in this tier. So maybe we change that. Maybe we change that when we get there. To keep things, even and fluid. Uh so on the third tier, I have Joe Burrow, Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, and Caleb Williams. All of these are players like so Joe Burrow is just that defense did improve, but they're still going to be bad. They're still going to get behind in games. They still have T. Higgins. They still have Jamar Chase. Chase Brown has been very good. Their offensive line is fine. Um, so like I I don't I think he's going to be there purely to like you're gonna want him stacked, right? So I do think I'm okay taking him there. What's up, Sus Edwards? Yeah, that is something else. Like the AJ Brown stuff is definitely huge, right? Like it's huge for the wide receiver stuff as well. And like you'll see that in my rankings. I didn't really like I get that, but at the same time, there's enough free agents out there that I could see them signing somebody that's not him, but good. And maybe that means he runs more, right? I don't know. Like Jalen Hurt, like I had a really hard time just not putting Drake May at 4 or at 3. I will probably switch that since everybody seems to kind of agree there. Um, so we will put that over here. 1 second. So there we go. And then Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, and Caleb Williams. I have Burrow here because I think that's where you're gonna have to take him again. He didn't do a whole lot to disprove that he should be up there. Like he only played a few games. He didn't play 100%. One of those games, he basically got no points, which takes down your average quite a bit. Um, and he like that offense absolutely hummed when he came back as well, uh, most of the time, right? So that's why he's there, and then the other three are there because of rushing. Um, I usually hold on a second. Let me move those over there so it's easier to watch for now. Uh, so like Justin Herbert, I think he had the second most rush yards of any quarterback this year, only behind Josh Allen. Caleb Williams ran for almost 400, and Trevor Lawrence only ran for 350 or 360, but he had 9 touchdowns. He ran a lot in the red zone, and I think that that's something that he understand. Like he just under was seeing the field really well, and I don't necessarily think nine's going to happen again, but if he gets 6 again next year, he's going to be a very good pick, uh, as well. So let me know in the like if you guys think that that is if those are wrong. Like these are basically the same guys in this next tier with higher rushing upside or less risk. Um, so the next tier is the biggest tier, and this is probably where most of my like a lot of my teams will be drafted in. We got Dak Prescott at 10, Brock Purdy at 11, Jackson Dart at 12. Now, I think Jackson Dart I think it's fine ranking him anywhere from 17 all the way to 6 depending on what you think. um I do worry a lot about like this is a injury worried, like that's why he's here. Like I could easily see putting him at the top of this tier, but I think the injury risk matters a lot there. Jackson Dart himself, he ended up with 9 rushing touchdowns, with tied for second most of all the quarterbacks last year, and he only played 14 games, and he left early in a couple of them. So that's what we have there with him. So Dak, Brock, Jackson Dart. I have Mahomes at 13. He's also somebody I think if you fully believe that, or we get news that he's going to be ready at training camp, I don't buy that he's going to be able to play the first few weeks. I maybe I'm a skeptic on that, but I personally think that like he's not going to be ready, and he's going to miss like 4 games. Uh, and this ranking is assuming that I think he misses 4 games. If if it comes out that he is going to start, I think you could move him up into the tier with Caleb Williams, or just move him to the top of this tier. And then Jared Goff, criminally underrated. Jordan, I did it last year. Hands up, accountability. I did it. Jordan Love, Baker could be a really big buy low candidate, and Bo Nix. I don't have the notes on Bo Nix yet. I haven't found because he's injured the same foot that he has before. It's caused him a bunch of issues. So he did call the doctor he had fix it the previous time. So like I think that he still deserves to be in this tier. And I think if he was fully healthy going into the year, I would probably rate him about the same. Um and so as Seth says, seemed like Cohen designed a lot of rushes in the red zone by the end of the season. I feel like it could carry over. Absolutely. And it was definitely near the end of the season because he had two rushing touchdown games, I think, at the end of the season, if I remember right. He definitely had one. What's up, J Lives? Who are you talking about? Mahomes. I mean, yeah. So, and then we have, and these aren't like definite ranks. These are thought thought provoking experiments, basically. I have Daniel Jones at 18. He is a free agent. It is 99% that he's going to be uh, a Colt. They've definitely said that they want him there. Um, so and he has a little bit of a rushing upside. That offense was all good whenever he was healthy. And then Tyler Shuck, I really, really like him. I had a hard time not putting him in the tier above. Uh he he plays really well. He's a better runner than people think. Uh and I was in on him for most of the offseason, like as a potential guy. He looked way better than I thought he would, but especially on that team. So I really like him quite a bit next year. This Stafford ranking, I don't know. I've kind of expect him to retire, right? I'm not going to take much Stafford, obviously, without a pass catcher or a running back on the team. But like I think I move him up to the top of I only move him to the top of this tier. He doesn't go into the tier above. Um, I don't think, even though he was quarterback 2 in points per game for the year, he had 21.43. Uh, Let me look at something real quick. Um, okay, so Devonte Adams is under contract for next year as well. So like, if he doesn't retire, I will definitely be moving him into the tier above. That will definitely happen. Uh, and then Jacoby Brissett, I like he put up 19 to 22 fantasy points every single week for a long time last year. It's hard for me to see them not stick with Jacoby and to go to Kyler. And worst case scenario, they trade Jacoby and yeah, and he starts somewhere else. And he's a solid quarterback. Uh, Sam Darnold behind Jacoby Brissett. There's a couple reasons for this. Number one, I think that the Charbonnet injury, I think, will hurt them a lot for next year. I know Walker's not under contract, but I fully expect them to probably franchise tag Kenneth Walker next year now. Um, Darnold, like Cooper Cup will be another year older. I mean, JSN is awesome. This might not be super fair to Sam Darnold. I might move him like maybe move him up above Jacoby. But like I kind of think that these are all kind of the same. Like they all can spike. They all like Stafford does it in a different way than Shuck will. Maybe Daniel Jones needs to go to the bottom of this list. I'm not sure, but I do think that this is the biggest tier. Like I think that from Dak to Bo being a teardrop, I think this is the smallest drop in tier of the groups that we've had. And then the biggest drop in tier is from Darnold to the Bryce Young tier. This is the tier that, like, hopefully you're taking your third quarterback from this, is kind of what I'm thinking. Go back to chat for a minute. We got Corey in the house. Wahoo, hypo. We can talk about that later. Like that'll be a later video. Like we'll go over like possible landing spots and stuff eventually. We're just gonna look at ranks and stuff right now, and I'm kind of ranking free agents uh, as if they get a solid landing spot. Um, everything's good, man. I hadn't seen you for a while. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, he has been absolutely fine all season. I think if they win the Super Bowl, he does retire. That's the thing. If they lose this week, I don't think he retires. If they win the Super Bowl, I think there's a chance he retires. Just wait till you get to my T Ferg rank for tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll go through wide receiver and tight end. I'm pretty high on T Ferg next year. I basically forced myself to not put him super high. It's all like we'll get into those talks later. We're just ranking today, going through what we think. We can do all draft talk like we have all year to do that. So, and this is all a discussion to see what we think or what we don't. I guess like whenever it comes to full rankings, if you like 3 quarterback, you need to like if you expect to be 3 quarterback more, you want to in your overall rankings make sure to rank your quarterbacks a couple spots ahead of ADP, right? And if you're more okay with the 2 quarterbacks, you can kind of keep them around or a little lower than ADP. That's just kind of how I view it. And like quarterback, you either reach for them or you don't. Like you either try to push them and fail, or you secure the stack. And I think it all matters on how much you have of the stack before you take somebody. If like it obviously, if you have McMillan and Coker already, Bryce Young is way more important to your team than anybody else at that point, you know? So, like, that's just an example. So, the big drop from the Darnold, the Jones, Shuck, Stafford, Brissett, Sam Darnold tier, 18 to 22. The big drop is Bryce Young, 23, Michael Penix, 24, McCarthy, 25, Kyler Murray. I do expect him to at least get traded somewhere and get a chance, or for him to start in Arizona with a new coach and them to trade away Brissett. I kind of expect the team to trade away Kyler if they can, and that's why I have Jacoby ranked where I do. If Jacoby isn't the quarterback there, I'm going to make a massive change on this. And I'm also going to make a massive change to Michael Wilson's ranking, which we'll get to tomorrow. And then we got CJ Stroud at 27, Cam Ward at 28. I have Stroud ahead of Cam Ward because of weapons. CJ Stroud gets to play with Nico Collins, and Cam Ward gets to play with Chimere DK, who I like. I like DK, but he's not Nico Collins. Cam Ward also gets Gunnar Helm, and CJ Stroud has seasoned pro Dalton Schultz. So, like, I think Cam Ward's upside for next year may be higher. And there's a pretty solid chance that Jeremiah Love ends up in Tennessee. Like maybe not. I wouldn't do it if I was them. Like there's a trend between teams who take top 10 running backs. That's that they stay bad. Like it's been like it's a pretty sizable amount of teams over the last like 10 years that when you take a very early running back, you never get to that next level. All right, so that's that tier. If you have any gigantic disagreements, and it's a tier thing. Like if you think Kyler should be ahead of Bryce Young, that's great. Just let me know. Like I'm not gonna argue that that's there. Um, or if you think CJ Stroud should be at the top of this tier, or if you think he should be down 2 tiers and below Davis Mills, I'll hear that. um, I'm not going to change it, but I will hear it. And then here's the everybody after Cam Ward are people we don't know if they're going to have a starting job. Like you could say that about Kyler, and you could say that about Jacoby Brissett. We don't know for sure. Everybody else, and JJ McCarthy to some extent. Um, everybody else, I think you could. Yes, exactly. That's why he's at the top of this tier. Malik Willis has looked solid every time he's stepped in for Jordan Love. He is a free agent. He's almost for sure going to get a starting job this year. And depending on which team he goes to, he could be a really, really fun pick. I'm probably going to get myself a chunk of Malik Willis uh, because I don't know like before free agency. I don't think like especially the opening couple weeks, right? Because we're not going to have a whole lot of news on where players may go, stuff like that. You can look at some betting markets and things, but Malik Willis going to the Browns makes him much worse, right? But if Malik Willis ends up going to like I don't know the Dolphins, like I don't love that situation, but it's fine, right? Um, like I think I would like him with Jalen Waddle, Devon Achan more than I like Cam Ward or CJ Stroud, you know. Um, what's up, Mufasa? Yeah, that's true. Like Tua most likely starts somewhere as well. Like uh maybe I'm hating on him a little too much. Maybe he does deserve to be in this next year along with Malik Willis. Maybe those two need to be moved up. Um, what do you guys think? So like and like Anthony Richardson, like he's still under contract for next year, um, which is surprising. Like I could see them trading him off for nothing though, and I think a team that needs quarterback will send something like a fourth rounder for Anthony Richardson to see what they could do. Um, no, I was just throwing a name out there at random. Just a like a spot that would be fine, like better than the Brown. Like there's a couple spots out there that Malik Willis would be better in a better situation than Cam Ward, right? Or CJ Stroud. And like Kyler's in the like Kyler's probably going to go to a team that thinks they can win now with a better situation. If they're going to trade for Kyler, I think that. Um, but yeah, that it does make sense. And that would open them up, like assuming they can make a trade for like they could trade Tua to somebody. I could definitely see them wanting to bring in Malik Willis, and like, or they could just bring in Malik Willis and then see what happens with Tua and do the whole Kirk Cousins thing, right? Um, so we got Malik, we have Fields. I don't even think he's going to start, but man, when he plays, he puts like he didn't do very good at fantasy points this year, only 15.2, but he spiked twice in those 9 games. And at that price, I think it's fine. He had 4 rushing touchdowns in 9 games. Uh, he's a guy I have no idea where to put. I think him just like he's better. Like Brady Cook is still Brady Cook. The Jets don't have anybody right now. The Jets would probably like the Jets are the best landing spot for Malik Willis. If Malik Willis goes to the Jets, I think we could move him all the way up, like maybe to the top of this tier. Because he's still not proven. Like I feel like Daniel Jones, Shuck, Stafford, Brissett, and Darnold are all proven to be fine. And if you want to argue about Brissett, we can argue that and we can move him down. That it's perfectly fine to me. I like him. I think he was really good. I think Arizona keeps him. But I think you could pretty almost move like you can move Malik Willis up to the top of this next tier if he lands with the Jets. Solid offensive line. You have a stud wide receiver. You have a solid tight end. No running back as of right now. They just have Braylon Allen on the roster. So I like that would be the dream scenario for Willis. And then we got Anthony Richardson, Tyrod Taylor, Mac Jones, Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins as guys who may get traded places. Like Tyrod is a free agent, which is why I have him above Mac Jones, Geno Smith, and Kirk Cousins. Geno is here. Like, I don't see them getting out of that contract, but maybe they don't want Mendoza to start week one. I'm probably not going to dive into this, but I do think that that's fair. And Kirk Cousins and Mac Jones both require a trade to be relevant. And then these are the super deep Hail Marys. Davis Mills takes over the job for Stroud after what happened this past year. Jameis Winston gets traded somewhere and actually becomes a fun option for everybody. Shadur Sanders, the Browns, like the one argument of my list is, does Shadur need to be moved way up? Right? Like he is currently the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, I guess I could add Jalen Milroe somewhere for discussion as well. We'll put him down here. I think that I just don't see like Sam Darnold was awesome this year. I don't see them moving off of him. In a super flex, I think that he's perfectly fine. Like I think his landing spot was not good. Like now that Darnold has proven that he is actually pretty like he is good. Yeah. So do we think Pinnock plays next year? Love Atlanta with Stefanski. I mean, why would Penix not play next year? I guess he was hurt, right? Like I just didn't put that one in here. Yeah, I think he plays next year. But yeah, like the Stefanski stuff is pretty fun. Oh yeah, it was an ACL. I got through a lot of the running back injuries. I didn't make it to these. This is broken ankle or broken foot or something. And then Daniel Jones is his soul left his body or something like that. Uh, Mahomes was also an ACL. I mean, maybe he doesn't. The thing about the ACL for Penix is that he doesn't really run that much anyway. And the ACL recovery, like he should like I'm not a doctor, but I would, in theory, if he that's a good point. I'm just gonna look more into that. We will keep this on notice. And this is why I wanted to do this live. Is so I could find little mistakes that I made. What's up, Chris? Yeah, it's the third. Yeah, it's like the third one he's had as well. So that is it for the quarterbacks. And if that's the case, like Kirk Cousins purely gets like I would move Kirk Cousins all the way up above Bryce Young. Uh, I think that Kirk Cousins needed 2 years to recover from the Achilles injury. I think he looked really solid this year when he did play, and I think he looked better than Penix did. And we've seen Kirk Cousins run a high level offense before. I think we could move him like easily to 23, maybe up to the next tier. Um, I do think that if Penix plays, though, that this year we may see Cousins traded as well. Um, so that's a good point. I completely missed all of that whenever I was going through this. I would have figured it out, um, but yeah. So doesn't seem like anybody has any thoughts on that. So we are going to move on to the running back discussion. Put it in the timestamp. All right, on to the running backs. I'm going to leave this up here for a minute. And I'm going to take a drink and put some background music on. So I don't know if you noticed. I'll give you a quick of my full sheet. I used underdog colors all the way across for my rough ranks. So I did that just for myself, basically. All right, so Bijan Robinson, clear 101 next year. I don't think there's any argument. You get Morris out. Algier is a free agent. He broke the whole he can't spike thing on the biggest week of the season last year, week 17. Yes, it didn't matter as much because Derrick Henry done King Henry things, but he still was an absolute monster, and he should be the 101. And I think a coaching change is positive there. And I think that Stefanski is awesome for him. There is a small argument for Gibbs. I'll hear it, but I basically won't be like I was Bijan this past year, as well. So I think that Atlanta as a team improves more. Number one, like it's gonna be hard for the like the Lions offense was really, really good, right? They still scored a whole bunch of points last year. Gibbs was still really awesome. Like points per game, Gibbs was the fourth best in the league. Bijan was the third best. Taylor was the best, and McCaffrey was Taylor was second best, and McCaffrey was the best. But I have Bijan here. I have Gibbs at 2. I understand that there is an argument for Gibbs. That's why they're in the same tier. If I didn't believe that there was any argument at all, like it will take a lot to get me convinced that it's not Bijan at the 101. And then Gibbs at the 102. I think I like both of them more than the wide receivers. But I do think that after, whenever I get to the overall ranks, I will have the wide receivers kind of next, like the top tier of the wide receivers next. The second tier, we have at 3, McCaffrey, 4, Jonathan Taylor, 5, Devon Achane. I would have Achane above Jonathan Taylor if we knew all of the information. Like, losing McDaniel is gigantic for Devon Achane. That is huge. Jonathan Taylor keeps Steichen, and I assume that Daniel Jones ends up there again. And Daniel Jones was good for Jonathan Taylor. He was good enough at reading when to check to a run play in the red zone. And Taylor has the explosive ability. They actually used him a little bit in the pass game last year. I think that his pass game stays the same, and Achane gets a little less because I think a lot of Achane's passing work was because of Mike McDaniel. I was debating on that. Like, I did say that I was thinking about putting a tier there. I am fully up for that being something that we do as well. Like, I think that's where I didn't really want to put James Cook in that tier as well. So after Achane, I think that nobody seems to mind the top 5. Like, you could argue that CMC is absolutely a risk, but like, it's hard to argue with what he's done. I won't have a ton of him because of the touches, but I do think that he deserves to be ranked there. Number 6 is Saquon. 7 is Derrick Henry, and Genty at 8 is what I have. And I have a tier after Genty. I think that, so the reason I decided to break the tier there instead of including James Cook is if we don't, like, if Monken gets upgraded to head coach, I'm going to change that tier instantly to James Cook, right? Like I'll put James Cook in that top tier. I'm a little worried about who comes in and what they do. With Genty, like, they're going to take Mendoza at 1. And I'm going to assume, I didn't want to do that yet. Like, in my heart, my tier does end there at Hampton. Does anybody disagree with changing the 3-person tier there to go down to 10? Do you guys think that, like, I did this to try to be more in line with what I think may happen? And I actually really like the running backs that are going to be in the early second a lot more than the wide receivers. So, like, because Hampton will be probably pick night, like, he'll be at the 2-3 turn ish the whole season, I think, if not before then. Like, we could, like, I am fully up for doing that, and then having the Jacobs tier, just Jacobs, Chase Brown, Bucky, like, or even making that just one gigantic tier. And Saquon feels a little shaky to me. I'm going to blame Kevin Patullo fully for that. I don't want to be fully out on Saquon next year because of Patullo being not good at his job. So let me know in the chat or it should definitely be a 6 to 9 tier for consistency and no other good reason. I will hear that argument. We will. Oh no. I'll have to fix that later so I can get the dotted lines in there. I had to do it in a weird way to get it this way. So Chris says Jacobs, Brown, and Bucky aren't the same tier as Cook for me. Okay, so that's how I felt. I didn't want to put him all the way up there. Like, I was kind of hoping to get some James Cook early, right? But yeah, I think that that's perfectly fine to move either one of these two into like, do we stop at Cook or do we stop at Hampton? What does the chat think? Because I think stopping at Cook is correct. Honestly. Okay, so we'll go over that tier as is right now. I will fix it off stream. But James Cook, Amarian Hampton, Josh Jacobs, Chase Brown, Bucky Irving. Genty isn't appreciable better than Hampton for me. Okay. Yeah. I think I like that. I mean, those two tackles are absolutely going to be back. They got rid of Greg Roman. Like, I think the offense as a whole will just score more points without Greg Roman. So I kind of like him a lot. I think I will change it to include Hampton. It sounds like everybody agrees that James Cook should be in that tier, and Hampton is the iffy spot. So I'll make an executive decision later on that. And then at the top of the fourth tier is free agents that these two players, if they go to where I think both of them jump up into the tier above, which means that it should definitely stop at Hampton. Because I don't have Walker and Brees with like Hampton and Cook for sure. Maybe not even Josh Jacobs. But Kenneth Walker, I fully expect him to get franchised now. That's what this ranking is. When he gets franchised, he's going to jump up ahead of Chase Brown probably for me. At least ahead of Bucky. Maybe not Chase Brown. Bucky also... Sean Tucker is a restricted free agent, and Rachaad White is a full free agent. Brees Hall is another one. I could see them franchising him because the Jets love to make the worst decision possible for their team. I hope that doesn't happen. I would love nothing more than to see Brees Hall go to Kansas City, because that means we won't draft Jeremiah Love. And that's not hate on Jeremiah Love. That's understanding that Kansas City needs that's understanding that Kansas City needs offensive line in the first round to allow our running back to do anything. So, or for Mahomes to do anything. Whoops. So I did some research on some injuries. And this was just on Google on what came up at first. I don't know, like it just said his expected timeline for return was 4 to 6 months. I don't know all of this. Was just a quick Google search what it said. I haven't delved deeply into it, but we'll go over all these injuries right now. Scatabo, 4 to 6 months. Judkins, 4 to 6 months. Braylon Allen out 8 to 12 weeks, which would be done about now since that happened on October 3rd. Charbonnet, ACL, 8 to 12 months. So, like, best case scenario, he came back next year, middle of the season. I didn't rank him at all, but I do think that in the last rounds, you could definitely throw him in. George Holani had a hamstring injury, and he could be back this next week. Najee torn Achilles, Austin Eckler, torn Achilles, and Justice Hill. Yeah, like if you get best case scenario and he comes back for just the fantasy playoffs, like I will take a couple shots at Charbonnet in the 20th round in these drafts. I didn't rank him, but I will definitely take a shot or two whenever I have some Seahawks things going on. By the way, this is something else. Mike Evans, and I haven't verified that this is correct, but Mike Evans was asked about if he could be retiring soon. And Evans clarifies that that could mean 3 or 4 more years, which is definitely something we need to know, right? Like I found that while looking up other things. I wasn't even looking up wide receivers, but I found this clip, and I thought I would let you guys know that for sure as well. And Justice Hill's neck injury, like, who knows, right? Eckler is 30 and an Achilles injury. I don't expect that he comes back at all. But yeah, the Najee Harris stuff, like, there's all kinds of rumors out there about how, like, some people think that once you have a torn Achilles at any position other than quarterback, you'll never play again. Other people say that that's completely false. I was just kind of researching, like, broad picture how these injuries look. The Scadaboo injury looked a lot worse than an ankle dislocation, like an ankle break, right? Like, it didn't look like it would be 4 to 6 months recovery by the pictures of it. But assuming that is correct, assuming he is ready to go next year, even if he's not 100% whenever it starts, I do like him here. I was going to have him pretty low, but I went to do a little research on it, and it seems more favorable that he might be able to start the season. And I mean, he is such a fun player, and Jackson Dart loves him. Everybody loves him. So I like him there. 17, Kyron Williams. I will always disrespect Kyron. I know it. It's probably not right, but yeah. Then RJ Harvey, DeAndre Swift. ETN is a free agent. I was not aware of that until recently. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Harbaugh is there, and Harbaugh is going to love Cam Scadaboo until the fourth quarter. And then this is my first extremely questionable thing. I have Travion Henderson at 21, and I put Ramondre in the next tier at 28. I do think a full season, off-season training, absolutely. I reflected that in Tootin's ranking here. As you see, I have him at 30. Like, I basically middled what I thought would happen. Like, if ETN resigns, Tootin should probably be down in this area again. If he doesn't resign, he should probably be up near the top of this group. So I put him near the bottom of this group because of that, because we're unsure. But they did draft 2 running backs. But like, ETN kind of feels like he could absolutely be a Cowboy, right? Like, you got Kenneth Walker, who's probably a franchise, but free, like Breece Hall and ETN, both of them were rumored to go to KC at some point this past season, if I remember right. Javonte Williams is a free agent, which I was not aware of. Rico Dowdle's a free agent again. Tyler Algier, Kenneth Gainwell, and J.K. Dobbins, Rashad White, George Holani's a rookie, an extended rookie free agent, I think that is. Najee Harris not only has the Achilles, but he's also a free agent. Brian Robinson, free agent. Emmanuel Wilson's restricted free agent. Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco, both free agents. Bam Knight, restricted free agent. And that's all of them I have. We'll go back to the ranks now, just so you guys know a little bit about who is going to be there, who's not going to be there. So, like, the one thing about the Travion thing is Ramondre's not a free agent. Like, of all those people, Ramondre's not a free agent. I think Antonio Gibson was. No, Antonio Gibson's still under contract for next year as well. So, like, New England keeping all their guys. So, this might be spicy. This might need to change. But let me know in the comments what you think about that. Then, the fourth tier of running back, I had a very hard time figuring out what I wanted to do here. Like, it's an absolute mess. I just put David Montgomery up top. Best offense. Like, I will probably change this as it goes on. He's on the best offense. He is a number 2, but they score a lot. He averaged 8.8 points a game. He had a couple spike weeks. Like, you could absolutely do worse. You could do worse, right? And then Tony Pollard, I'm a little scared of Pollard because, well, so he started looking really good at the end of the season, right? The offensive line finally came together a little bit. He started looking pretty good, but they are picking high, and Jeremiah Love is going to be very appealing to a team looking to add weapons for their rookie quarterback. Chris says Pat's coaching staff seems to really like Ramondre. They really do. And I could easily, like, I thought about just putting both of them, like just putting Ramondre at 22 and in the same tier. I decided against it. So, like, the reason I decided against it comes from rookie scouting from last year. The one thing, Travion Henderson, that would be very interesting. Yeah, I've heard some rumor like that he may be on the free agent market. Like, I would love David Montgomery to Dallas or Kansas City, right? Like, David Montgomery goes and cucks Bashaw Tootin in Jacksonville. Like, that would be fun, right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. Like, would you rather have ETN or David Montgomery in the Liam Cohen system? I'm probably going to lean David Montgomery, but that's just me. I think they'd both be fine. ETN obviously works there. So we got Javonte at 24, which I don't love either. But it's hard to disrespect what he done. He will get a job somewhere. He will get to play. I fully expect Dallas to just re-sign him, though, to a bigger deal, but not a huge deal. Quinshon Judkins, another one. Like, I went into it thinking that I wouldn't have him very high at all, but he also just had ankle surgery, and the average time on ankle surgery is 4 to 6 months. Obviously, I'm assuming that some of those may have had more reconstruction with them than the other ones. And I'm assuming, and I'm not a doctor, but I would assume the more you have reconstructed, the more that it's going to linger. As a JCM denier, putting JCM at 26 honestly just feels like the right spot. Austin Eckler's a free agent. Rodriguez is a restricted free agent. McNichols, I believe, is a free agent. all they have is JCM next year and Rodriguez if they will probably exercise the restricted free agent on that. And that offense will look a lot different if Jaden Daniels stays healthy. They are losing Deebo Samuel. So I think that it only makes sense to expect their offense to be better next year, assuming some health, and that Jaden Daniels will help. Like, JCM's biggest problem was he had a hard time seeing the lanes open up like a lot of rookies do. Having Jaden Daniels on the team is going to allow those lanes to be a lot bigger. When he had lanes, he was really good at exploding through them. The funniest thing I think is going to happen is Deebo Samuel is going to go replace Brandon Ayuk next year in free agency. I'm going to go ahead and call that shot right now. The old 1 year rental, like overpay, then the guy goes back to the team that traded him away. Like, I absolutely see that happening here. Jaylen Warren, like we said, like, he's at 27. He would be above these two guys in my eyes if Aaron Rodgers was going to play again. They're not going to have a quarterback. I think Ramondre could go up above him. Like, I think Ramondre could go up above JCM as well. I wouldn't hate that. I was trying to not let my dislike for JCM affect what I was going to do. So that's why I ended up moving him there. Like, I think that that's a fair ranking. Then you got Jaylen Warren. Like, I just don't think that offense is going to be very good next year. So even if he's the solo back and Arthur Smith is gone, like, that's kind of a negative having Arthur Smith gone for Jaylen Warren. 28, Ramondre. Tyrone Tracy, 29. Like, I ranked him a little higher than I really wanted to, because Harbaugh's going to run the ball. I think Harbaugh will use both running backs if they're both healthy. And you get the added bonus that if Scadaboo's injury is worse than he does miss some time, you get extra value there. So I kind of like him a lot there. Tootin, we went over that earlier. Aaron Jones, like, that's the first Vikings running back I've listed. I do like the Aaron Jones spot. Like, I think that that's fine. I don't think J.J. McCarthy's going to be worse next year. And I think that if he starts off really, really bad, I think they pull the plug pretty quick. And I think that they get a competent backup quarterback in next year. And I think that the offense flows a lot better, no matter what, for at least part of the season. Tyler Algier, he is the guy I'm rooting for to become a Chief. It depends on where he goes. Kansas City, like, Kenneth Gainwell, honestly, like, if I were to guess what Kansas City's going to do, I would guess they might sign 2 free agent running backs, Algier and Kenneth Gainwell. Something like that. Kenneth Gainwell fits exactly what Reed has been talking about. He's been talking about he wants that Jerick McKinnon type for a while. That's why they drafted Brashard Smith. They didn't use Brashard Smith super well. I think Kenneth Gainwell to Kansas City makes a ton of sense. So I could see that being a thing. And if he goes there and they use him as a role player, and then they also draft a guy to be a bruiser, like they could draft a guy, they could pick up David Montgomery or a Javonte or something. And yeah, exactly. They're not going to spend any money. They're just going to deal, like, they're going to get Kenneth Gainwell because he's going to be decent. Like, he's a good player who's not going to be expensive. And then we're going to get a body elsewhere like Najee Harris If he's dead, he's dead. If not, we got something. They're not going to spend any money. That is not going to happen. So Algier, like depending on landing spot, I'm willing to move Algier all the way up to the top of this tier for sure. This tier I feel like is extremely fluid. Like David Montgomery could get an awesome landing spot and move up into the next tier. Javonte, very dependent on where he goes. Judkins, we don't know. JCM has huge upside. Like, what about these guys? Like, there's a lot of potential. Like, this is the value tier. I for sure want to get one guy out of this tier in every single draft. I think a couple, like two of these picks will probably be some of the steals of the drafts. So the next tier, I thought about putting Kyle Belong in the tier up. I seen that earlier. I kind of agreed, but I made the line there. If everybody else does agree, I'm fully okay moving Kyle Monangai up. We've seen the Bears offense. They do like to use him. He will be a second year there. I must have been, I guess Chess Liam's going live or something. But yeah, I have no problem moving that line. And then Blake Corum, Kenneth Gainwell at 35, 36, Chuba, the number one Carolina running back right there. That one feels weird. I think so. Rico is a free agent. Trevor Etienne has done everything to ruin his chances of playing in the NFL. Aaron Jones is going to be a tough click. I was Jordan Mason and Aaron. Like, I just thought one of them was going to be good. I mean, Rachaad White to the Chiefs would make sense as well. Gainwell or Rachaad White. Chuba, Braylon Allen, I have ranked this high in like he's one of those guys. He jumps up into this tier instantly if like the second we find out for sure if Breece Hall left. If Breece Hall leaves, he jumps up. If Breece Hall doesn't leave, he jumps probably to like he might stay about the same. He might jump to the bottom of this tier. So this was my hardest thing to do. Do we believe James Conner comes back or not? I couldn't find anything on James Conner. Like, does he just retire? Like, does he come back? He's under contract for one more year. Trey Benson also couldn't stay healthy. They're going to have a new offense this next year. Bam Knight was pretty fantasy relevant, and he's not James Conner. And Trey Benson does have a little more upside as well. Then we got so like that's the I don't know what I'm doing like rank. I have of everybody on this list, James Conner and Trey Benson are the two that I am absolutely open to being like, hey, this is terrible. You need to move them up. You need to move them down. I really have no idea there. I just kind of threw them there because one of them should be the starter. The Conner thing is a risk. And it's like Benson's kind of a risk too. Like he can't stay healthy. Kamani Vidal, like I think he secured the backup job, right? Like they're not going to bring Najee back. Vidal did really well last year. They liked him in pass protection quite a bit. I think that offense is going to be awesome next year. Fun fact, it's Braylon Allen's birthday. What is he, 22? 23. He's 23, right? Kamara did make the list, by the way. He made the list. He made I threw him on the end. I just chucked him at the bottom of the list. That's what I did. All right, so Vidal, then Jordan Mason, Rico Dowdle. That Rico is another one like easily could go way up. And then J.K. Dobbins, like also a free agent. I think there's a really high chance that he just ends up back in Denver next year. He was pretty good when he did play. And I will definitely take some shares of I expect this to kind of be where the market puts Rico and Dobbins. I don't know if Canales is going to want Rico back or not. Like, he was awesome for all those weeks. And then when Chuba came back and started playing a little bit, and like Rico didn't do as much. So like, yeah. So yeah, I will change this tier to putting Menungai up there and then everybody else. I think that's fair. All right, the next tier, we're down to, we found Woody Marks, guys. We got Woody Marks at 44. 45 and 46 are Rashad White, who's a free agent, and Sean Tucker. Jonathan Brooks made the list as well down here at 67. He's the guy I want to, like, I was for sure, like, I'm hoping to sneak a bunch of shares of him late in the draft. If I can get him in around 18, 19 on a Canales team who's proven he's going to be, like, this is a guy I think will steam up. He has had 2 ACLs on the same knee, though. So we got Sean Tucker and Rashad White together. Tajay Spears, like, once again, unhealthy, but spiked a couple weeks. He was useful here and there. Devin Neal, the only running back on the roster for the Saints that I have listed, is ranked at 48. I fully expect them to sign somebody. Devin Neal wasn't really good last year. He was fine, but he wasn't good. I think that we're going to get a free agent signing there. That will be the one. Like, they'll probably be the team that takes Breece Hall because Breece Hall can't have nice things. Kansas City Chief Brashard Smith at 49. He's the only Chief running back on the roster, I believe, of the ones that played last year. Kareem Hunt is a free agent. Pacheco is a free agent. And I believe that the one guy, Elijah Mitchell, was a 1-year deal, I believe, as well. Chris Rodriguez, I think, is a super fun pick. I don't expect him to be very high. I probably like him more than Tajay Spears, or up to Tajay Spears. I just don't think anybody's going to respect him. They're going to see free agent, but it's a restricted free agent, which means he's basically going to stay. George Holani being an extended rookie free agent, the Charbonnet injury makes him a possible gigantic value. He might be back this next week to play. He will if they make the Super Bowl, he'll definitely be able to be back by then. And he looked pretty solid whenever he did get to play. Najee Harris at 52. That's just a pure gamble. Like, does he come back from he's another guy I had no idea where to put. He had a torn Achilles, but it was very early in the season. It was September 22nd is when it happened. I have not seen if it was partial or full. That's why I left him completely off this list. We could put Sharbs here. And then Tank Bigsby, like, he's looked really good this year whenever he does get to play. Pretty explosive. Yeah, I don't actually know that. What's the difference in timeline, Chris? Let me know. Like I was just doing like surface level looking last night. So then here's the I hope I don't have to draft a bunch of these guys. You got Ollie Gordon, Emmanuel. Like, yeah, if it was a partial, then like if it's partial and he's going to be back, I'm definitely going to move the Kenneth Walker down a little bit because I don't think he gets franchised. If it's a, and I think that Sharbs jumps up into this tier, right? So, and if it's a full, I think taking him at the very end of a draft in a 20 round is okay. All right. And probably not at all in 18 rounds. So 54 to 64, Ollie Gordon, Emmanuel Wilson, restricted free agent, Dylan Sampson, Brian Robinson, who's a free agent, Buffalo running back number 2, Ty Johnson, P. Ryan, who's still under contract, Jalen Wright, Ray Davis, Bam Knight, who's a restricted free agent, and then the free agents, Kareem Hunt and Pacheco. I don't love any of these. I'm okay taking Jonathan Brooks ahead of all of them, to be fair. Like, I just don't want way too much Jonathan Brooks. The next group is in the end of the draftable players, in my opinion, and they're not really that draftable. Like, we're going to fit in like 10 to 12 rookies into this, right? Like, we're fitting in an extra 12 rookies into this. So that gives you 76 running backs to draft if you add 12 rookies in. And you're probably adding more than 12 rookies because, and like Phil Maffa, I think deserves to be drafted a little bit. Jaden Blue did nothing but prove that he didn't deserve a draft pick that he got all season. And Dallas absolutely hates him. Jonathan Brooks, 67. Baltimore, Justice Hill at 68. I put him way down here because of uncertainty on the injury. LaQuint Allen, Taj Brooks, Caleb Johnson, Khalil Mullins, and Alvin Kamara, and then Sharbs, assuming partial, or Sharbs in 20 rounds, I think you can throw a dart at. And there are definitely some names and stuff that I didn't get to that will become draftable the more we look at things. But this is what I got for now. Are there anything you guys majorly disagree with? Like, do you think it's a reasonably solid list? What do you think? Do you think I have any gigantic holes? Let me know. If you're watching live, type it in the chat. If you're watching afterwards, put it in the comments. I do think that I agree with swapping Cook and Genty and then moving this tier down to Hampton. I also agree moving this tier down to Monungai. And then on the quarterbacks, I need to do a little more research on the Michael Penix injury for sure. And I think we agree that Drake May just goes ahead there. So we can fix that as well. And other than that, it didn't really get much pushback on everything. So I will tell you this. Tomorrow is going to be interesting because tomorrow I'm going to go over wide receivers and tight ends, which I already have done. But I promise you're going to argue on my wide receiver tiers. There are some decisions in the wide receiver stuff. There are some things that I don't want any part of this. Like Jerry Jeudy, I believe the wide receiver 1 for the Browns, I think I have it 65. Something like that. Like I would bring it up. I'll go look on a different on this tab now. I have actually I have Jerry Jeudy at 69. Uh, so yeah. But yeah, I've started rookie stuff here. That's what I'm going to do whenever I get off stream. I'm going to start watching rookie running back clips. I'm going to dive into some just the tape stuff. And then I'm going to kind of give myself a little bit of like, I'm going to put notes and stuff on the players. Hopefully by Saturday, I have full ranks. Tomorrow I'm going to do like, hopefully I can add in the running backs by Thursday and the wide receivers by Friday. Yeah, I could see that. Let's go back. So Pollard and like, where's Chuba? Yeah, so to be honest with you about, I kind of think Pollard, like after looking into some stuff and like, depending on who becomes coach of the Titans, like I think that Pollard too high is a fine, like is probably the correct thing there. Because whenever I did this ranking, it was last night, and it was like I started this at like during the game last night, and I was doing these all the way till like 1 a.m. I wasn't even considering that they may take Jeremiah Love. And if they take Jeremiah Love, Tony Pollard is like the worst pick on the board at that ranking, right? So like I think Tony Pollard could easily jump all the way down to below, like I wouldn't have an argument moving Pollard all the way below Monungai and like changing this tier and then adding Monungai, like adding Monungai to the tier and then moving Pollard all the way to the bottom of it. I think that that's that big of a decision. And with that same thing, I kind of think I need to move Tajay Spears down as well. Like, but I like below Devin Neal, right? Like, if that happened today, I missed it. I haven't looked at X yet today. Let's let me go to X real quick and type in Underdog NFL, and we will just read through all of the Underdog NFL stuff. All right, so today's Underdog NFL news. Mike McDaniel informed Browns he's withdrawing. Shocker. He doesn't want to go to the Browns. Nobody wants to go to the Browns. Patriots owner Robert Kraft pushing for 18 regular season. Oh, good for him. He hates his players. Copy. Trayvon Diggs released by the Packers. Cam Scadaboo expected to be available for start of offseason program. Wow. Oh yeah, McDaniel's absolutely getting a head coaching job. Absolutely. Malik Neighbors trending towards hopefully being ready for start of training camp. That's awesome. Robert Saleh signing 5-year contract with the Titans. So he just took like one of the worst units you've ever seen and turned them into a formidable defense in San Francisco. And he's going to Jeffrey Simmons? Like, Jeffrey Simmons is an animal. The question is, do you think he wants to get the elite running back? He had an elite running back at the Jets and didn't use him properly. So I don't think that that'll be the route that they go. So maybe Jeremiah Love, like assuming he has some say in that pick, maybe he's a little safer. I mean, that would be Clay Kubiak would be awesome. Yeah, it would be. Brown should just hide. Yeah, I do. I could absolutely see that happening. Like nobody wants to go there. And do you think Deion's going to say no? Falcons hire Bill Callahan as offensive line coach. That's fine, I guess. We got McCarthy considering candidate for Steelers. I've heard that he's one of the front runners. Before that, Robert Saleh's going to call the defensive plays for the Titans as well. That can work because he already has head coaching experience. Let's see if anything else. Jeff Hafley signing the 5-year contract with the Dolphins. Jeff Hafley to the Dolphins as head coach. That was I missed that yesterday. I hadn't even seen that. I was too busy doing my rankings badly. D'Amico Ryan's on whether Joe Mixon has a future with the Texans. As of right now, I don't know. His foot is still a mystery to everyone. Dobbins back to practice. Offensive coordinator Drew Petzing to the Lions. Suffered torn ACL. It doesn't say partial or not. So, yeah, Robert Saleh there and Hafley to the Dolphins. Like, Hafley to the Dolphins is actually not a bad place, in my opinion, either. So, but I want to thank everybody for coming out. I had a good time today. Tomorrow we will go through the rest of it. And then I will probably be doing, like, I'm going to make actual videos to where I'm not talking with chat as well. Like, we're going to use you as guinea pigs to get my rankings a little better. And then I will release my actual ranks whenever I get the rookies put in. And I think I'll do that as my first ever actual video. But thanks everybody for popping in. I'll be back on tomorrow, 4 p.m., same time, for the wide receivers and tight ends. Have a great night. Peace.